and welcome to the Wheel Show. As you can see, I'm smiling so brightly because I'm super excited for what we have in store for you today. I hope that you are ready to receive this incredible episode that we have in store for you. It's been an incredible time that I've spent with this individual in a prior conversation that we've had about all things art. And today we're diving into it a lot more deeper, and you are definitely going to enjoy it. So hop onto social media and let us know what are your thoughts as we are unpacking art, creativity, and all things just amazingness with the one and only Jimmy Jenkins Jr., ladies and gents. You know I love doing the intros. How are you doing?
Thank you so
How are
much.
you? How are you, Jimmy?
I'm feeling blessed, feeling blessed. Yes, just honored to be
Yeah.
on your show. I'm honored to be here, and it's a blessing. And thank you so much for having me on your show.
For sure, for sure. I mean, I definitely, I love picking your brain. I think you have one of the most incredibly wired brains in the industry, at least the ones that I've met here in New
Oh wow,
York.
oh
Because there's
wow.
something about the plurality of your creativity that I think is very interesting to understand, because not a lot of people do have it, but you do. And I'd
Mhm.
like for you to please just get to share a little bit more about what it is that you do in the industry, and just to give context to why I say it's all amazing and needs to be explored. But in your words, and if you were to kind of go about and share what it is that you do in the industry, just touch points on some of your many talents that you possess.
Oh wow. Well, thank you for that amazing introduction right there, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Also, shout out to everybody who's watching, and I apologize for the background. Like I said, I'm in my studio, and I thought it was gonna. I thought I didn't. I was thinking we were gonna be
In the
uh,
city.
uh, just yeah. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
it's all good. So just bear with me on that. Yeah. What was the question? What
Your your
my
your many talents. Your many talents.
my many talents? Yes. So well, I would say to that is I somebody has to walk past. Like I said, we're in my studio, so you can come on past, come on past. You can just come, you can come. See, that's this is what happened when we're working. When
Don't worry.
we have a
That's
lot of
what we
things going.
like.
Um, I would say I'm a storyteller, just flat out. I'm a storyteller. I like to um tell stories in many different disciplines,
Yeah.
creative disciplines, and it's one of those things that fuels me. I wake up thinking about it. I go to sleep thinking about it. It really, it's just part of me. I've always been like that, even as a child, from making videos to taking pictures to painting, drawing, sketching, all of the traditional things like that, to even rapping and being in a music group. I was in a punk hip hop band, fashion, making clothes, all of those things. They seem very like I'm all over the place, but they actually are all part of the same creative thread. And when I do all those different things, I'm really pulling from the same place. So, and I'm actually telling the same narrative, which is, the culture, Black culture, Afrofuturism, love, of course. Love is one of the most foundational aspects of all of the things that I create. Um, and so, and of course, I'm into, gaming and characters and video games and fashion and music. So all those things are kind of telling the same narrative within the Jim Twice, Jimmy Jenkins Jr. mind, if that makes any sense. It's just really kind of like I take, for example, I'm really leaning now going into filmmaking. I started off when I was way young into filming first. I was always painting and drawing and things like that, but I started off using my dad's video cameras and making little short films with my friends. But I'm coming back to that. It's almost full circle. because one of the beautiful things about film is it allows me to tap into all of those creative threads, if
Absolutely.
that makes any sense, right?
It
Because in a
does.
film, you think about the costume, right? So there's the fashion, right? You think about the soundtrack, so there's the music, right? You think about how the scene is going to look, so there's, the design aspect of it.
Yeah.
If you want art to be in there, you know what I mean? And then, of course, then there's the characters, and so it's so rich that it really fulfills a part of my creative side that I hadn't touched on in a long time, but it really gives me it's great for storytelling. I love it. So I've really kind of been leaning into that more, and taking all of those things that I do and putting it into one complete project. And so it's a blessing that I'm here on your show because I
Yeah.
actually want to premiere. I wanted to actually visually premiere something. However, it's not completed yet. So I wanted to. I didn't want to just step out there just for the sake of saying, "Hey, look, I just want to show y'all this." But I'm in completion. Well, actually trying to complete it by this weekend because what I want to do is I want to start I want to launch. So here on your show, I am also doing a exclusive you putting this out there to the world, and that is my media side of myself. So I know you know me as the visual arts, the Jim Twice brand, but there's like I said, the filming when you're incorporating all those aspects, all those creative aspects into one, and it's called Fantastic Wonderful. So that's a new venture that I'm starting, and it is also geared to the culture,
Yeah.
putting the culture in the front. So it's telling stories where Black people are the main characters in the stories. They play huge roles within that storytelling, and it's not for the sake of saying I don't want to talk about anybody else, but I'm Black, so I can only talk about what I've been
Your
through.
experience.
And growing up, I always wanted to hear stories that had me and my friends in them, or people that I knew in them, and you know, how what it is to be Black and growing up here in this country and in the world. Those kinds of stories are far and few in between, and a lot of times, if they are being told, they are stereotypical, possibly, or maybe putting you in a box. And here's the thing: it is what it is. We have to have those stories too. To be honest with you, you have to have
Yeah.
everything so that the whole gambit can be told, right? But the problem is when those are the only stories being
That are
told,
being
right?
told. And I guess it's a
Exactly. So,
uh-huh.
uh,
I was
yeah,
just gonna say add on to that it's really then a responsibility to take on that ability to be a storyteller and not forget your story, the stories that you are meant to tell,
right.
because they are also needed to be added to the caliber and to the mix of stories around the world. And I think
Yes.
it's and I love that you gave us so much to chew from in your response, and I love asking you questions because you give, and I'm like, yes, Jimmy, give me more, give me more.
As you can see, I'm a talker.
I
Well, I
know.
teach, so it's in me. I start talking. I can keep going. Yeah, yeah. My students are like, yeah, yeah, yep. That's Professor Jenkins right there.
But you started with the idea of storytelling as a concept, right? And being a storyteller and kind of
Mhm.
not boxing storytelling within one medium, but enabling storytelling to come in different forms, shapes, and sizes, which is exactly what I think you have kind of been able to seamlessly cross over these different mediums to continue telling stories. But if you were to kind of share what storytelling is as an art form, in a simple kind of basic understanding of, for you as a storyteller, how would you go about explaining storytelling? Is it paint like is it telling someone's life story? Like how do you encapsulate that if you were to share that with someone on the idea of what storytelling is? I hope that question makes sense.
I would say no, it makes sense. I would say sharing your view. sharing your viewpoint.
Yes.
That's really what that's really what it is when it just breaks down to just the like basic,
Yeah,
it's sharing
yeah.
your viewpoint. Yeah.
And I like
Hmm.
that because a lot of people might kind of confuse the art form of storytelling as, oh, you're telling your life story, or you're telling where you grew up, or you're telling, but the way you're putting it goes beyond that. It goes beyond
Oh
the.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's storytelling across the board. So for example, so Fantastic Wonderful. The reason why it even has that name is because I am I'm a first of all, I'm a big kid at heart, number one. And number two, I'm a huge sci-fi fan. I love sci-fi movies. I love fantasy movies and things like that. But as you know, it's hard to find a black fantasy movie. It's hard to find a black sci-fi movie, right? Like, can you name some, right? It's hard. They're out there, but it's hard to it's hard to come across something like that. And that comes down to a lot of again, storytelling or your narrative being told, right? And the powers that be are going to tell their stories, right? Which, if you want to like really just keep it 100, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell the story of my life, right? And if they're in power, they're gonna tell their stories. So we can't really necessarily be so fuming mad about that. So what do we do about it? The problem is when there were gatekeepers, right, and we were allowed to tell our stories, right? So when you have, it's about getting opportunities, one, and then two, when you're getting those opportunities, being true, stay true to really telling a real authentic story of your culture. So going back to what I was talking about, the science fiction thing or the science fi and the whimsical, that's why it's called fantastic, on the whole sci-fi, wonderful on the whole whimsy.
Yeah.
And I never saw black shows like that. So it's just my attempt of saying it doesn't even have to be a story about slavery or the black that black narrative of slaves and what we've been through and the hardships and the pains and the struggles and things like that. Yes, we do need those stories do need to be told. But what about the kid that came across the alien in the closet, right? What about, what I'm saying, the kids that used to go to school and ride to the arcade every day after school, but then one time they came across this unknown relic in the woods where their clubhouse is, right? And then there's the whole, what I'm saying? There are great stories, right? That happen where people look like us and we can have those kinds of adventures too. So, yeah, that's what that's about.
That the viewpoint element then comes into that to say your viewpoint will be different because you are different, right? Because you look different to the average storytellers within that particular line of storytelling. And for
Yes.
you said that in the beginning you were into photography, and you were playing with your dad's camera. How did you identify that this was something that is for you to go ahead and pursue in life? And I'm asking that question because someone might be watching and they're not really sure. They know that when they pick up a pen or a pencil or a paintbrush, that something magical happens, but they can't
Yeah.
identify that being something that they're meant to then be doing in their lives. So for you, how are you able to kind of really come to that conclusion and that discovery that this is what I'm meant to be, not only do, but this is kind of the trajectory of my life?
That's deep. The reason why I say that is because I think that's I'm still on that journey. I think that's an ongoing journey. Because that whole idea of like, oh, I have arrived, right? Oh, I'm here. Like this is where I'm supposed to be. This is who I am now. That's false. I think that, and if you live life thinking that that's what you're trying to chase, you're gonna find yourself tired chasing that, thinking that that's. It's like one of my favorite animated movies is Soul. You seen Soul?
So yeah, 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 I have.
Soul is dope, right? Well, it's like the line she says when she's talking outside with Joe, and he's like, he finally got to play with her. He's excited, and she's like, tells him the story about the fish in the ocean, and
Yeah.
she's like, the fish is like, yo, where's the ocean though? And the old fish is like, yo, you in the ocean? He's like, what? Because he has this idea of this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this is supposed to be like this, and it's supposed to be like this, and it's like, no, it
You in
is like
it.
you make it exactly. You make it the
Oh
ocean,
man.
right? The
Yeah, yeah.
ocean doesn't make you. You make it the ocean. You make it those the adventures. You get up and show up and go out and do those things that turn your life into the ocean, right? You know what I'm saying? Like one of the things I think about this for myself a lot. Like I'm in my own movie, right? I'm the lead character in my own movie. And so when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, yo, how would I want my lead character to be like if I was watching my own life? Like, and when I get caught up in stuff, I'm like, yo, well, would I want my character to be that like that though? You know what I'm saying? Or would I want my character to like flip it on them and come back and do this, da 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 da? You know what I'm saying? It's like my own way of like, charging myself and like, yo, Jim, what you talking about? Yo, you the lead character in this thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that was messed up. I know you feel down, but look, yo, what we gonna do tomorrow? Because that's episode 3. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's, you know what I mean? Like every birthday is the next season. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what we gonna do this season? How the season starting off this season? You know what I'm saying? Last season ended crazy. Let's how we go
That
how we gonna start
cliffhanger
off the
was
new season?
strong. He had a strong
Exactly.
cliffhanger.
Exactly. It was good
Oh
cliffhanger.
man. Oh, man.
But look, I'm back. Look, we got
I'm
renewed. We
yeah.
got the season got renewed. Exactly.
You know why I'm laughing so
Yeah.
much? It's because I can relate to that. Like I speak into my brain in that way. Like I talk to myself
Yeah.
in like in shows and films and like and I see life and just everything in that sense. You know how you when you were
Hmm.
giving us an example, you gave us an example of a film or like when I remember that you always get examples from particular types of animated series or this or that. Like I think the
Uh,
same way as well. Like I'll be
yeah.
jogging and I'll be like, I remember scene 5 of that movie and this was happening and like like so that's how I'm laughing. I'm like, I know exactly how your brain works because that's how my brain works. But
That's what's up.
life then is a movie in that sense. And I think
It
that's
is.
the beauty of us like us as storytellers and people who have been given this the responsibility is that we reflect life, right? We
Hmm.
show life to people. We show people what life is in various different ways. And I think that there's something very, very amazing within that.
Hmm.
And for you, like when you then think about in the different seasons of your life, what to then pick or what to focus on or what to endeavor in within the art space. Is it a mood? Is it a feeling? Is it like how do you then go about deciding, or at least the ones that you're embarking in now? What is happening that made you want to go and embark on this particular journey, within the creative kind of realm in general?
Okay. Yeah. It's. I would say if it's something that is I can't explain. It's more of I would say is a God. Is God.
Yeah.
A lot of my ideas, all of my great ideas, basically come to me in crazy ways, and most of the time they come to me in dreams.
Wow.
And yeah, and I just do it. And a lot of times, more than I'd probably say 99% of the times, I start on stuff that have no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like there is no reason behind doing it. Like I'll even have people who ask me like, "But why are you doing it?" And I'm like, I don't know. It I'm being driven to do it. You know what I'm saying? And no, I'm not getting paid to do it. And no, it's not I'm not making it to get to do it to make something or whatever. I'm just doing it. And so that's how all my art has always been. And for this particular project that I'm on now, this project has been a part of me for over 10 years, to be honest with you. it has it has been an idea and a concept that has been with me for a long time, and it has changed. It has morphed because with the times and things like that. But at the core of what it's a story that just never it's never left me alone. So I had to created. It started on as a book because it's always been a movie in my mind. But when I started it was at a place where I'm thinking, black man never made a movie feature film before, trying to get out into Hollywood to get somebody to help me make this sci-fi black movie, about a black family in this sci-fi. I'm gonna get a lot of no's and da da da. And so I had somebody, a friend of mine, said, you should make it a book because you can always write a book and you can put it out there,
Yeah.
and then, you can see what happens from that. So that's how it started. But then over time, life is lifing, right?
It's life. Yeah.
Life is lifing,
Sin
right?
7 is always gonna happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I look around and I'm like, years are going by because this is a very expansive story. So what I would liken this story to be like Black Star Wars, Harry Potter type
Haven't
world
seen
building.
that.
Not
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now here's the thing, not like those movies, but world building like those movies, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense, right?
Yeah, it does. It
So
does.
it's and a lot of my art has actually been influenced by it. Just no one ever knew that that's why I was doing certain things. I've always had this fascination with, like, first of all, I love technology, I love futurism, I love Afrofuturism. And so, I'm always like that's why I do Lego, because Lego also has that pixelation um look to it. So that's how it started. I started with the whole trying to make things look pixelated and make my art look pixelated because it was like a future thing and like digital technology and so on and so forth. And so within that world is my story. And the story is actually called the movie is actually called Raymond Toys. Raymond Toys, Hold 'em a Bow Tie. So Raymond Toys is the main title because it's part of a trilogy. So it's the main title. So it's sort of like, how you have like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone,
Yes,
Harry
yes, yes,
Potter
yes.
and the da da da. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's Raymond Toys, right? And then Hold 'em a Bow Top. Hold 'em a Bow Top is an acronym, and it stands for hundreds of thousands of millions of billions of trillions of pixels.
What
So
did
it's a
say it again?
platform.
You were saying the
Okay.
word 100
Yes. So it's hundreds of thousands
thousands of
of millions
millions. Yeah.
of billions
Billions.
of trillions
Trillions.
of
Uh-huh.
pixels.
Got it.
So now, and there's a word, so it's Hodomobotan. And
Automobile.
the cool thing about that is it's a digital platform
Yeah.
that was created by a black woman. And so Raymond Toys is it's called Raymond Toys because that's the name of the company that owns Hold'em a Bow Top. So think of Hold'em a Bow Top of like is if it was like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Google, everything mixed into
Yeah.
one Disney, everything on one platform. And that's
Got
Hold'em a
it.
Bow Top. And
Got
it's
it.
owned by a company called Raymond Toys. And so and Raymond Toys is owned by a family called the Raymond family, which is a black family. And so it's just the story of what ends up happening of them creating this huge tech company that really essentially kind of takes over the world in the sense where everybody's involved in it. But it happens like that for a very interesting reason, which is goes back to a cosmic secret that the father of the family actually knows about that comes from the stars. So it's a whole story about the galaxy, our galaxy, the universe. The story actually taps into real theories, and then of course I embellish them for storytelling wise.
Yeah.
But I tap into quantum physics and nature and the power of water. Like water is crazy. Water
I
does
know.
many amazing things. Oh man,
Yeah.
water is amazing.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
tap into that, the science fiction of water. Africa, of course, Africa is the cradle of life. and we all know that. And so I tap into that, and a lot of things. And of course, there's art, there's fashion, there's music, there's all of those things that I am into and I do, and it's all weaved into this story of this black family and this tech company, and the cosmic connection of the universe and the stars, and it really takes a very interesting journey, and a journey that I have never seen before, especially done through a black lens. I've
Yeah.
never seen it before. And so, but that's one of the things where I couldn't let it go anymore, and oh, I had to start writing it. So I meant to say this part, and that is that actually why it switched back over to the filmmaking, and I want to kind of make this clear too, because just in case anybody who's watching this and they start they come check me out. I'm doing everything. I'm about to release a AI trailer to the film. So
Yeah.
now keep in mind, of course, I haven't filmed anything and it's all AI. And I'm going to actually start to try to make the film just using AI tools.
What?
Now, yeah, it's going to be crazy. Here's the thing, AI is not really there yet to
A
make a
full
really
on
dope film in
feature.
the way
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be, let's see how much I can pull off. And ultimately, what the goal is, though, is Raymond Toys is written to be live action. There needs to be real black people,
Yeah.
a real black family, and real actors playing these roles. But me being the no person in the Hollywood film industry, right? The only way I figured I can get this out there is to just put it out there and show the potential and the vision of
Of
what
it.
Raymond Toys is. And so maybe the powers that be, or the studios that can actually, come in and say, "Hey, I see what you're trying to do," and I'm not going to try to shape this into any other thing other than this black Afro-futuristic story that you're trying to tell. That's really that's the goal. So, I'm not trying to be like just an AI filmmaker. I think AI is amazing. I was against AI for a long time, and I still am on a lot of fronts because there's a lot of parameters, or there's the restrictions. It's kind of like the wild wild west right now.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of crazy, but on the tool using aspect of it, right? Like, because that's another thing that I want to put out there too for anybody who's watching this who might be against AI in the way that I feel I was against it as well. Is this like I'm super into trying to push our culture,
Yeah.
right? And there's nothing more Afrofuturistic than to get us into places that are creating with new technologies that are unfolding in front of us. Because the thing is, it's coming regardless. Like
Yep.
you can sit back and say, I don't want to do this, I don't want to. But guess what? It's already here and it's taking over everything.
Over.
And if you don't learn it, or if you don't understand it, or if you don't try to use it to your own benefit, you're going to be left in the dust and a dinosaur. And that's not Afrofuturistic to me. Afrofuturistic is learn it. That doesn't mean you have to prescribe to everything. That doesn't mean you have to, it's like anything, right? You have a good, you have a bad to it, right? A hammer can build a house, but a hammer can also destroy, right?
Destroy.
So
Yeah.
it's about taking that technology and using it for the building, you know? And how can you take that? How can you flip it and use it and better yourself and better your community, or, you know, in some aspects. So that's how I'm using AI. It's kind of like my Photoshop to filmmaking, because the things that I want to create cost a lot of money because it's a sci-fi film. So
Sci-fi.
I'm
Yep.
talking about futuristic stuff. Yeah, sci-fi is expensive.
Mhm.
So I don't have that. I don't have millions of dollars like that. But I have this new tool that has just unfolded into the world that will allow me to take my ideas and give, a close concept to where I
What it
really
could.
want to take it. Now, the things I could create. Of course, it's not exactly what I want, but it can satisfy an idea of my
Yeah.
concept, if that makes any sense.
And you're
So
not
yeah,
waiting as well, because I
and I'm
think,
not waiting exactly.
yeah, and I love that you kind of thoroughly went into this explanation of that particular concept, because a lot of the times people, creatives, they feel discouraged by the limitations of certain resources, and they don't go ahead and do right. And when I also asked you that question again, was because at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, what are some of the things that have propelled you to kind of get to that mindset? Because people who are in this industry, just when there is the no's, and then it's like, oh no, I'm just gonna stop, right? But again, with that burning desire that you said, you just could not do it. It's like you had to do it. There's just something about
Yeah.
doing it. And I think also one of the reasons why we find ourselves so discouraged, and to some degree some people get depressed because they're not doing what is in their heart, because the stick is burning, right? It just doesn't stay there. When you have this idea, it will eat you up until you get up and do it. And you've given us the tools today on how to get up and just get it started. Just do something about it.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping
Yeah.
someone who, anyone who's watching is gonna be like, oh, he actually did that. Let me go ahead and do it as well. And you went on the AI path, which I am, I really would like us, you brushed on it briefly, but when it comes to, we had a strike recently in Hollywood about, AI, and how it's going to impact the industry, and some of the things that it's not going to allow, like how it's going to take over certain roles, and etc. What is your true sense on that? Like, are you you said you love the tools element, utilizing the tools, but how far do you think AI will go, and how do we precautionary utilize it in ensuring that we are still allowing ourselves to be in the future and to be Afrofuturistic, and make sure that we're still creating the art that we desire?
That's a good question. You know, first off, I want to say my disclaimer is I don't know the future, but what I will say is it's going to get even better, meaning the AI tools, and it will get to a point where you will not be able to tell the difference between a real actor and an AI actor. Like I've gone down, since I really have been getting deep into AI, I've joined like some communities, and we get like updates, and I see like some of the new tech that's rolling out. Like, no, for real, like, and then very soon it will be where you'll be able to look at it and, is that AI? Is that somebody real? But here's the thing: I still, even with that, I still don't think it will take away real actors in the world. Now, it will reduce the amount. That's with any technology, though. If you think about it, I just mentioned Photoshop. I remember when Photoshop came out, it was, I mean, people lost their mind. Everybody was mad at that. I mean, Photoshop? What? You mean you could take a picture and you could do this, da 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 da? When, I mean, they were like, photographers are dead, right? Photographers are going to be dead now. The photographers didn't die, right? No, you'll still pay really good money for a really great photographer, right? So the thing is, it just creates another genre, right? And Photoshop didn't die. Photoshop flourished, but it created a new lane, which is digital art, right? I think what's going to happen is you'll have AI films. You'll just have a genre category of AI films, and then you'll have traditional live action films, right? And because, see, you get something different, I think, from both, from what I've been watching. When I watch AI films, you can do things in AI that a real person can't do, and things can't do. And if you could, it would cost so much money to be able to do it. So it allows people who have voices who can't afford a big budget thing to actually still tell a story. So you can get unique stories from people that you probably would have never heard from ever, because they didn't have the tools to be able to do it, right? So you'll have that, and that'll be cool because and there'll be a whole community of people who will love those kind of films, just like you, people who just love independent films, right? They don't love blockbusters. They love like that grungy kind of independent, look like it was made on a shoestring budget kind of films. That's a whole category of things too. You're gonna have a whole AI filmmaking category. And then look, you'll even have there's going to be a hybrid where there's going to be, it's even a term now. It's called um, live gen. Live gen is live action and generative, technology. So basically AI. So you'll just be merging the two together, right? So you know what I mean? I think,
Wow.
I
That
think it's going, yeah,
is
it's just going to be across the board everywhere, right? And then you'll just tap into whatever community that you are into, right?
yeah.
Whoever it is, And some people will hate AI, some people will be like, it is what it is. Some people will love live gen, some people will love just live action movies, And then, because even think about plays, right? So some people just love theater,
Yeah.
right? Theater has its own thing, even though it's live in front of you. It's not like going to a movie, you know. So it has its own community. So I just think that's what's going to end up happening.
Also, just hearing that, if you're looking at, I'm thinking one of two things would potentially happen is that now the tools that are utilized to create that type of content will I guess escalate within like the price points, because now it's going to be in demand, right? Because now people are utilizing it to then, on the other end, make all of this amount of money with limited resources. As you're saying, like what would you would want to do in a live action would cost you X amount, but now you can scratch all of that, scratch the crew, you don't have to pay all of that money, but on the other side, you could be making so much because the people are going to be within watching. So I guess
Mm,
then you'll start seeing an incline of the tools, and then there'll be an abundance of the different tools you can use, and the different price points, and the tools kind of increasing. And because I'm seeing even now, we're starting to see a rise within the pricing of the different. I don't use a lot of AI tools, but the ones that I am using, I'm starting to see an increase because now the demand is going up. And,
yeah,
what tools are
yeah.
you using? What tools do you use that are in that vicinity that you'd say any creative should kind of check out and be aware of within the AI space?
I would definitely. I use tools like Midjourney. Midjourney is my go-to for imaging, creating images and things like that. Runway AI, which is a great tool for taking your still images and then making them move,
Wow.
right? So one of my workflows is I create my images in Midjourney and then to I move them to Runway. And then a
So
lot
would
of
it be
times
like
I
a
even
storyboard? Would it be like a
it's like
storyboard of multiple pictures and then it creates an
that's how
animation?
Midjourney works.
Got it. Got it.
That's how Midjourney works. You type in your prompts, which is a whole nother thing. So speaking on that, to anybody who's watching this too, and you might be saying, also AI is taking everybody's jobs. There's some new jobs that are opening up, and they're called prompt engineers. And if you can get really good at prompting, because that's another misconception that people have about AI too. They think like I'll show people stuff that I made, and I think that they think when I say I made that with AI, I think they think I just sat down and I like typed something and then it made whatever it is that they're looking at, right? And really, it's actually still a whole lot of work. You still you gotta really fine tune stuff. You gotta, it's a lot to it. It's a lot to it. It's not just typing something in and then it popping up. But but that's the thing. The industry needs those people. So AI is here, but no one really knows how to do it well yet. So because it's still a new art form. It's still a new technology that's coming out. So there are huge uh, corporate companies, huge brands who are hiring prompt engineers, young kids. to like, whoever knows how to actually do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's learning how to fine tune your prompting, knowing how to really get close to what it is that you're trying to envision. And the thing about AI too, the tools are getting better and better and better, like very fast. Last year, I made a video, an AI video for one of my art pieces, my Negro hair. I think you
So
saw at
that
the art show,
I did, I
and
did.
I made that video, and that was last year. This year, I can do so much more than because in that video they were just kind of just still images, right?
Yeah.
But now you can create movement. I can swap faces and things like that. Like, so, for example, if I create a character and I finally fine tune this character the way I want this person to look, now I can take that character that I created. I didn't take anybody's face or anything like that, because you can build, I can make somebody from scratch, and then I can use her face or use that person's face multiple times in different scenes. Now AI still is not there where it actually keeps it looking really well looking, because sometimes the face kind of wonky and things like that. But that's crazy that you can even do that. Like, it's crazy.
Oh,
There's so much you can do. Like, and like I can change the voice, and it's so much. And that just happened on a few months. Now it's
yeah.
scary. I'm not gonna front. It is scary in one sense. And you're like, man, and especially because there's no guardrails yet, right? There's no real guardrails. So there is some scary aspects on that. And if you're thinking in those terms, I guess, yeah. But see, I've only dealt with AI for creative reasons. So I'm not the kind of person that's plotting on like, oh, I want to put somebody's face on this and make them say da 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 da. See, like, that's not why I'm using it. So when you do think like that, you start to go down that rabbit hole. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy things you can do with AI. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, again, it's the hammer theory in my mind. It's like, what can you do with a hammer? I can pick up a hammer and also go outside and try to hit people in the head. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you want to do that? There are people who think like that, and then there are people who like, no, I take this hammer and build. So there's that part of it. There, I get it. There is that part of it, but I do it in a way where I'm just trying to create a cool story, and tell some great art in a way where I can do things that I couldn't do because I didn't have $10 million. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
What is your thoughts on the
yeah,
Open AI recent AI announcements? Did you see that?
yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean,
I someone said in the comments, they were like, "But wait, this sounds like you can even fall in love with," because the way that it was speaking back to the guy, it was like, and then they ask you questions, and they're
listen.
like, and then they start flirting, and it's like, this is scary.
No, yes, everything is the expression now. And you can even, yeah, so however you talk, whatever you type, the AI will actually do those expressions. And I mean, it goes back to like the movie Her, right? That's what he even referenced that. Have you seen that movie with Joaquin
No,
Phoenix?
no, no.
He has the AI that he falls in love with because knows him. I mean, think about that. That's kind of crazy. Think about your phone, right? Our phones know us better than your family does, probably,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we are very intimate with our phones. It knows what we look at, it knows what we scroll through, it knows what we check out, it knows all those things, right? And imagine if you could put it, well, it's already there, right? And it can talk to us. But now add the AI element where it's now can have a nice sensual voice, or maybe that voice that you like to hear in the morning, right? And it can actually be happy and sad. Oh, you know what? Now let's put it in a humanoid robot,
but because
right?
we
That
haven't
can
even gotten
now,
there. We haven't gotten to robots. We're
yeah,
still getting there, and that's gonna then
it's
just
it's here. It's here already. No, it's here already. It's here already. In
oh
China,
man.
in Japan, they are doing that. They have robots that are that can talk to you, that can do all those things. Now, I'm not like, again, that's a whole other kind of thing, but yeah,
Yeah, I know, I know.
that fall in love
Man,
with it, right?
now you don't even need a boyfriend anymore. You're like, I got my AI. I don't.
No, you still need human contact, ladies and gentlemen. Whoever is watching this, listen. No, we need to stay connected as
Yeah, yeah,
mankind.
yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely,
yeah. And
absolutely. That's our downfall if we do that. Yeah.
I know, I know,
Well,
I know, I
yeah.
know. Oh man, this is so interesting. And as we're talking about AI, I think this is also very informative. You have your touch base as well in the academic space, which is I know a lot of the times as creatives we shy away from just books, and we just want to create. We don't want to be looking at and speaking to students and doing all that kind of stuff. So for you, what is it, how is it important, and why is it important to have that element of academia, or at least pouring into your craft more than just the doing, but also learning more about other things, learning more about AI, learning more about the history of the industry, learning about just the variety of things that could be presented via education. If you were to kind of speak onto that as well, as someone who is in that educational academic in part of as well.
Yes. Okay. Give me one second. You see what time? It's okay. It's okay. I told them we're working down here, so it's okay
Yeah,
if you see somebody walk past. It's all
no
good.
problem.
Um, but I think it is important because well, one of the things that I love, the fact that I get to connect with students on a level where it keeps me, to be honest with you, it's like keeping your ear to the street, right? That's and that's one of the things what I love about teaching is it keeps me connected. And because when you're an artist, we're like our own little silos, right? You get in your own little silo, you work, you're right, and you're putting your stuff out or whatever, but you're in your own little kind of ecosystem. And teaching kind of forces me to get out into the world, and like I have to interact with other people and more importantly, students who are younger, and I get a very unique perspective on what's going on in the world and what's in life, and especially being in New York City, that's always interesting of hearing what's happening with them and then hearing their perspective on. So I teach world art history. So they talk about the things that they're learning in class and hearing their perspective. And a lot of the students, born and raised in New York City, they may have never been to the Brooklyn Museum, but they're, born and raised in Brooklyn and lived down the street from the museum. Never gone in the museum until they took my class, and that's one of my requirements. I have a project where you have to go to the museum. So, and it's just hearing them like, oh man, I went to the museum for the first time, it was crazy, and that also informs my storytelling. So when I storytell in my own personal art, I have like this kind of pipeline from younger generation to the city, what's going on in the city, to the academia aspect of it, because that's infused into Raymond Toy. So when I was telling you about how the story is rooted in a lot of real theory, is I teach art history. So there's and one of the things I talk about in my class is I call art history life history, because really that's what it is. It's life history. Because we go ancient civilizations, and when you're talking about ancient times, and even in modern day life, one of the best ways to learn about a civilization is look at their art.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah.
their art. Just look at the art. If you want to know what was going on in the world at that time, look at the art. And when I say art across the board. So a lot of times when we think about art, you think about like paintings and drawings and things like that. Well, I'm talking about architecture, you know, design, fashion. All of those things are considered the arts. So I mean, think about when we talk about decades, when you say 70s, like you immediately think about afros, bell bottoms, because those things define a time. Art defines a time. So it's life history, and learning those things. And I'm just to be totally honest with you, pre-teaching art history and pre going into the world of teaching, I wasn't a big reader. I'm a visual person. I love movies. I love, you know what I'm saying? So just to be completely honest, I'm writing books. I wrote a children's book. I don't read like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a visual person. But being a teacher, it also forces me to read, right? Because I have to know what I'm talking about in class. So, and I have to, be up on the latest news of what's going on in the world and in the art and in the things like that. So, it also keeps me in touch and keeps me grounded in the world and what's happening. And so I have to say it's a blessing for me to be able to have both those worlds to be able to be a part of. And I to be honest with you, I thank God. I thank God for it. I just it is a blessing. So yeah, it is vital. I won't say it's vital, but it has been crucial in my storytelling.
What's your biggest desire? What's your biggest hope before we wrap up? As Jimmy, as you know, as the brand, what's the ultimate goal that you'd say, I'm looking forward to this trajectory within my art, within my storytelling, within my life in general? If you were to encapsulate that, what would that look like?
You know, I would say that goes back for me. It makes me go back to the whole. It's a journey. So I would say my immediate, just I would love, I would love, love, love for everybody who's watching right now. If you go there now, it hasn't been posted yet, but this weekend when we finish the trailer, actually that's Raymond Toys, but the website is fantasticwonderful.com. That's my immediate project that I really want to really become a thing and bring to fruition. And if you guys want to hear an amazing, fantastic, epic Afrofuturistic story that you've never seen before, where you have adults, teenagers, kids, emotional, dilemmas, love, family, spirituality, robots, aliens, all of those things weaved into this amazing story, come and support me and check me out on that. So that's kind of where my main focus is right now. But ultimately, I want to be able to be on this planet for as long as I can and be healthy and be able to spend time with my kids and watch them grow up and become amazing individuals and grow old with my wife and you know see what else happens, and hopefully AI doesn't destroy us and we learn how to use it in the way that can take mankind to that next level and see amazing things happen. So that's where every day, like I said, every morning is like I'm excited I'm excited to be here. You know what I'm saying? That's my mentality. And here's I'll say this for anybody who's battling depression. I've been there. If you're battling, you're like, man, today, why? I don't want today. It's Monday. It's Wednesday. I gotta go to work. I gotta, yeah, it's a lot of things. I'm broke. It's so much, right? Life's right? Life happening. But what I would say to you is this: if your eyes opened, that means you're not done. You know what I'm saying? If your eyes opened, you're not done. You're not done. And in the midst of whatever it is that you're going through, I know it can seem crazy, but for some reason you woke up though. I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God, and I think, so the way I think is, when I'm done, God will call me home, right? When I'm done, he'll
He'll call you.
God
Yeah,
will. That's
yeah.
right. I don't need to call myself. I don't need to be even thinking in that kind of mind state. And I don't need to feel like that everything is just terrible and it's the worst thing ever. I know it can feel like that, trust me. But if you woke up, then something's supposed to happen. Something, you're supposed to be here. You're supposed to keep going. You're supposed to keep going. Because the universe is so cosmically crazy. Think about it. Like, think about how crazy the world is. So here's just I'm gonna touch on this real quickly. The reason why it's also called Hold 'em a Bow Tie and why she named it that. My fictional
Yeah.
character. Her name is Dr. Colette Raymond. They call her Coco. The reason why Colette Raymond named it Hold 'em a Bow Tie, hundreds of millions and thousands of billions and trillions of pixels, is because that's what everything is. That's what we are. That's what everything is. That's what the universe is. Have you ever seen a picture of the universe? It's like pixels. Have you ever seen, any go down to yourself on a microscopic level? Atoms. We're pixels and we are light. We're matter. Matter is light. Here's what's crazy. In my trailer, one of the first quotes that you see in the beginning, in part of the trailer, is a quote from Albert Einstein. And he says that matter is energy that has been lowered to be perceptible to our senses. So that means that the reason why this table is here, or you can even touch me, is because my molecules and my frequency is just lowered to be visible and touched. But I am all energy. This is energy. This is energy. And then he goes on to say that energy is light. So think about how crazy that is. So we are light beings, right? We're light beings. And that means everything in here is energy. That means everything is light. That means that we're all pixels. You know what I mean? And if you look up the definition of a pixel, pixels are grammatically the fundamental elements of image made with light. So we are the image. Who are we the image of? I'm gonna believe that we are image of God. It's
Sure.
love.
Yeah.
All of this. All of this. Hold them a bow tie. So you know what I'm saying?
I want to go on this journey. I'm excited to go on this journey of fantastic,
Yes.
wonderful. Did I say that correctly? Right?
Yes.
Fantastic,
Fantastic,
wonderful.
wonderful.
It's
Yes.
really
Yes.
I can see where it's coming from, and I'm hoping that everyone who's watching is also really understanding the importance of this work, and we're going to go out and support it. Do go on the website when it does come out. Fantastic,
Thank
wonderful. We'll
you.
leave it also on the show notes, so you guys can just click on it, and when it does come out, we'll add it to the show
Yes.
notes, so you can check it
Yes.
out and
It's
and
it's it's
and
it's
go on the
live now.
journey.
The site is up. Oh, sorry.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not. But the trailer's not up
the
yet there
trailer's
yet.
not
But you
up.
can go to fantasticwonderful.com and you can go to raymondtoys.com.
That's amazing.
Raymondtoys.com. And here's I didn't say this too. So Raymond Toys is the name of the tech company. And you might say, well, why did they call the tech company Raymond Toys? Well, Toys is also an acronym, TOYS, which stands for Technology on Your Side. So that's why they named it. And her father, who started the company, he has a funny sense of humor like that. Because we also call tech toys. You know, so he's like, yeah. So that's why he called it that. So yeah.
Wow, man, you're such an incredible storyteller. You've told us this journey. Now I'm like, I want to follow this family. I want to Coco and
Yes.
so
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
gonna be checking it out. And thank you so much for joining us, Jimmy. We're looking forward to seeing more, of course, coming out from not only this venture, but a lot more that's coming, that you're gonna be releasing and sharing with the world. And of course, that the Voyage Show is always open for you to come and continue pouring this incredible art wisdom with us whenever you have the time to. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank
Um,
you so much for having me. I feel so blessed and honored. I appreciate you.
oh man, of
Thank you
course,
so
that's
much,
all.
Vivian.
we have in store for you at home. Thank you so much for watching. This is the Rio Show. We held it down for you with the one and only Jimmy Jenkins Jr. I hope that you enjoyed all of that. Go to our social media at the Rio Show. Let us know. Are you going to be checking Fantastic Wonderful out? Or when are you going to be checking it out? Because I know that you're going to, of course, enjoyed it from this conversation with myself and Jimmy. And from us to you, with so much love, it's goodbye and have a fantastic one. See you on the next one. Cheers for now.
Peace.
Yeah.